Good morning, welcome to Furry and Spoilt. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how sometimes it's really hard having dogs. The last couple of days have just been such a classic example of this. Now don't get me wrong, I love my dogs and I'm more than happy to do everything that is required to help them. Absolutely, I love owning dogs, I love it and I'm happy to help them. I have the experience, I know what I'm doing, so I'm very happy to do it. But I thought it was just a very good time to tell you what's been happening, because you might want to, maybe you're thinking about getting a dog, maybe you have a dog and it's getting hard sometimes, and it's just nice to know that somebody else understands. So let me just tell you how it's been going. So if you know my channel, you know I've got 3 dogs. I've got Humps here, I've got little Albert at the back, and I've got Harry up there at the top. So obviously all of my problems are, times 3. So let me just tell you about my few days. So yesterday morning it started. Humps woke me up. This is Humps here. He woke me up about 4:30 because he needed to go out because he had a bad tummy. My dogs never ask to go out at night time. It just isn't something they do. So anyway, got up, let him out. And then when it came to him having his breakfast, he didn't want to have it. So I get up, feed my dogs first. It's the first thing I do. And then I have an hour where I'm getting ready. I have my breakfast and all of that. So their food's got plenty of time to go down. And so I fed them, and he didn't want his breakfast. He has never, we've had him for 9 months, he has never not had his breakfast. He's about 12 years old, he's not a puppy, but he's never ever not been interested in his breakfast. So I thought, okay, he's got a bug or he's eaten something a bit dodgy, out on a walk or something. So I hand fed him his breakfast. And now the thing is that he eats, because he's come from Korea, from the dog meat trade, he eats at the speed of light. And so I sort that problem out by having a plate, and I put his food all over the plate, really, 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 really flat. So he can't actually gulp, he has to eat slowly. But a mistake, this was completely my mistake. When I hand fed him, I had it in like balls. I made balls out of the food and hand fed them to him. So he ate all his breakfast, which was good because there was some medicine in there. If you want to know any of the things that I use to get over my couple of days, I'll take you to my drawer at the end of this video and show you. But what it meant was, when I was feeding him the balls of food, is that he was gulping down air. And so he got trapped wind, which he's partial to, which is why he has to eat the way he does on the flat plate. I'll show you it in a minute. So then he got trapped wind. So he was running around the garden and the house, crying and crying, really, really distressed, really agitated. I knew immediately what it was. I knew exactly what had happened. I knew immediately what it was. And so I knew what I had to do, and I just jumped straight into action, and he burped it all up. It's like winding a baby. Burped it all up and he was fine. If you don't know about trap wind and bloat, you need to know about it, because bloat can kill dogs really quickly. And it's incredibly painful, it's incredibly distressing. But actually, trap wind's really, really easy to sort out. I've done a whole video on it. I'll put that video up at the end of this video. If you don't know about it, go and watch it, because I actually demonstrate how to get rid of trap wind in a dog. And it's vital that you know how to do it. So I'll put that up at the end. Right, so then we had that. So that wasn't very nice, and that upset him. I think it scared him, which he would have done, but I very quickly was able to stop that. So that was all done. That was all fine. Then he's shedding at the moment, and because he's corgi in him, there's definitely corgi in him. We've no idea what he is really, but there's definitely corgi in him, and he's got a double coat, and so he was shedding his winter coat. And I think, I'm not sure, because so he was used as a breeding dog, so he spent his life in the Korean meat trade in a black warehouse in a tiny cage, just cramped by himself. So I'm not sure if his body would have shedded. I don't know. I mean, would it have known it was summer and winter? I've got no idea. But he had seemed yesterday like the shedding, it was distressing him. He was quite distressed about it, and he was very, very cuddly. So what I did was I just cancelled yesterday, cancelled everything I had planned to do, and I just sat all day brushing him, and I brushed tons out of him. Tons and tons and tons came out of him, got all that undercoat out. It's sort of like, it had been going on for like a couple of weeks, slowly, slowly, slowly. He wasn't bothered about it. I was brushing him once a day. It was enough. I was getting everything out. It's fine. But it was like yesterday, his body just dropped the undercoat and it was making him itchy in distress. So I spent all day brushing him, which he just loved. It was lovely. I have to admit, it was a very relaxing day. It was lovely. But I did have to cancel everything I had planned for that day. So there was that. And then when it came to going to bed that night, he's not clingy at night time. He doesn't sleep with me, he sleeps on his own. He actually sleeps down here on the sofa. Sometimes he comes up with us, but you know, he can if he wants to, but generally he sleeps down here on the sofa. But he didn't want to. He wanted to get into my bed with me. He was all sort of, you know. So yeah, so that was that. He's fine today. I think we've got all of that coat out. I think we're done. I've actually got a new tool coming today, which I'm going to try on him, but I think we're done. He's, as you can see, sleeping now. He's fine. So that was yesterday. And then this morning, I got woken up at 4 o'clock by Harry, who is up there at the top, if you can see him there. He woke me up at 4 o'clock with a runny tummy. So I now know that they've got some sort of bug, or they've eaten some. I think it's a bug for them all to get it. So I'll show you what I use for that. So there was that. So he needed to go out in the garden to go to the toilet. That was at 4 o'clock this morning. And then I didn't get back to sleep because he was all a bit like, you know. And so he just stayed. I just stayed cuddling him for the rest of the morning until it was time to get up. I mean, I get up at 5:15, so it's not like it was early, but you know, earlier than I would have liked. And then, so back to humps here. I talked about this in yesterday or whenever it was, itchy video that I did. When the air conditioning first goes on, or the heating, humps here gets itchy patches on him. And it only lasts a couple of days, and then he's fine. He gets used to it. So what I do when that happens is I give him extra salmon oil. Again, I'll show you that in a minute. I give him extra salmon oil and put cream on the dry patches. In a couple of days, it's all cleared up and it's done. So, like I said, we've only had him, 9 months, but it happened when I put the heating on in the winter, and it happened when I put the air conditioning on a couple of days ago. So, he has got one on his leg, which I'm having to keep a close eye on because, as I've talked about many times in videos, a dog can just rip something open really, really quickly. Now, the problem that we've got with him is that when he was in the cage all his life, he didn't move. When they wanted him out to breed him, they just dragged him out by his neck. So his back legs, when he got to us, were all like there was no muscle to them. He couldn't stand on them properly. They would, if he tried to stand up, it'd shake. The legs would shake uncontrollably. Oh, hang on, let me just make sure he's all right. Yeah, he had a bit of a itchy patch there that I had to deal with. But I put my cream on it and he's all fine. But as I was saying, so that's fine. I can put the cream on the front legs. I can put the cream on all over his body and he's absolutely fine. But if I go to touch his back leg, he's not too happy about that. And so I've got the spray, but because he's a clever old boy, he knows that spray and he doesn't like it. So I have to trick him. So it has to be giving him a T-R-E-A-T, I can't say that word, in one hand and then spraying him with the other hand. So it's all a bit tricky. So, yeah, so I had to deal with all of that before I'd even sort of got out of bed yesterday morning. And then Albert, my little darling here at the back, look at him loving his belly rubs. He's loving his belly rubs. Then my little Albert over here at the back, he got some sort of insect bite a couple of days ago. And it's okay, it's fine. The cream is keeping it all under control, and it's all fine. But I'm having to, I'm not sleeping particularly well because I'm having to make sure that he's not going at it in the night. And he hasn't been. I'm putting the cream on just before we go to bed. And that seems to be keeping it okay at night. And it's been fine. And it's drying up and it's clearing up just lovely. But this morning, when I was sort of getting ready for my breakfast, I looked at the leg and I thought the fur is getting a bit longer around it than I would like. And so you can see we keep him short. And we do all this grooming ourselves and we keep him short. But the fur was looking a bit long. I just didn't like how long the fur was because I just need to make sure that it's getting air to it and that it's nice and clean because I need to avoid it getting infected at all costs. So then I had to get the clippers out and me and my husband and we did it together and we had to shave his leg just to make sure that it was all kept nice and clean so that there weren't going to be any problems later on in the day. And on top of that, little Albert here, he's pulled a muscle in his front leg. It's just a muscle pull. It's nothing that can't be dealt with. Humps, you got your head in the way, darling. Nothing that can't be dealt with. But I decided this morning that he needed to. I didn't want him walking on it anymore. I didn't want him to be walking on it, and that he would have to go in the pushchair. So we've got a pushchair for dogs because years ago he pulled his cruciate ligament, and it wasn't so bad that he needed operating on, but he did need to be put in the pushchair for 3 weeks. He wasn't able to walk, and that was fine. It healed up fine, and there were no problems with that at all. But so we've got a pushchair for dogs, and so we got that down from the loft, and we plonked him in it. And he had his morning walk in that, and I'm going to keep him in that probably for 2 or 3 days until I'm sure that that front leg that's completely healed and there's no problems with it. He's 10 now, so any injury that he has, I have to make sure that, you know, I just have to be aware that he's 10. His body isn't going to heal like it used to, and so he is in the pushchair this morning, and he will be in the pushchair for the next few days. And then what happened? Oh yeah. And then, so we're out on our walk. I was feeling really harassed. I was calm, because if I'm harassed, my dog's going to be harassed. I was calm, but I was feeling it. I'm tired, and I was just feeling it. And so we're out on our walk, and Hump's here. Now, when they come from Korea, you sent a whole load of papers about their vaccinations and all the things you need to know. They reckoned on those papers that he's 6 years old. I do not believe he's 6 years old at all. No way. Harry at the back over there, he's 6 years old and he is lively and energetic. There's just no way that Humps is 6. I think he's about 12 or 13. And so what's happening on our walks now is, last couple of mornings we went somewhere different for our walks, and he was very, very kept up the pace. Not that the pace was high. I mean, Albert here is 10, and the pace is not fast. It's a slow pace, but there's plenty of time to rest and all of that. But because it was somewhere new, he got excited, and I think he overexerted himself a bit. And so it meant this morning when we were just doing our normal walk, he kept stopping. And I'm thinking what it is that he's old, and that he's old and he gets tired, which is just fine. So we decided what we're going to do is we're going to buy, those trolleys, if you've seen them. I've never actually owned one. All my dogs have kind of been okay walking in old age. So they're like the trolleys, and you pull them, and they've got a ramp on them, and the dogs can climb up on the trolley. It's not high, and you can pull them. And so we've decided that it's time to get one of them, not just for Humps, but also for Albert here, because although he's a really energetic little boy, he is 10, and I need to be aware of that. And so we thought if we get a trolley, then Humps can get up on it when he's tired, and Albert can, now, with Albert hurting his leg, he'll be able to go onto the trolley. But when Albert's leg is okay, he'll be fine, because he's really, really energetic. He really, really is energetic on walks. But Humps here, he does this thing where he stops, and you have to stop for quite a while with him, and he's okay. He's had a really thorough vet check. He's okay, but I think he's just old, and so we're going to get him this trolley, and then we're going to walk. He can go on that. I've got to learn today. I've got to actually get on that. I've got to start watching some videos about how do you get a dog to be okay with using a trolley. Now Albert here in his pushchair, he loves it in the pushchair because he's high up. Everybody says hello to him. He loves it, really loves it. But I don't know what Humps is going to be like on a trolley that's moving. I can't imagine that's going to go marvellously well. So I'm going to really have to do some thinking today, maybe watch some videos and stuff, and just find out what is the best way to get a dog to be okay on a trolley. When I've mastered it, I'll share that with you. So you can see I've had a right couple of days of it. And it is I'm very, very tired. And it's a worry, it's such a worry. Owning dogs is such a worry. I'm normally at least worried about one of them. At the moment, I've got all 3 of them. But the tummy upset, I seem to have sorted out itching. I'm not concerned about the itching. I think that's all under control. Albert's snap bite is under control. He can be in the pushchair for the next few days. That will sort out the pulled muscle. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll take you now to show you my drawer and show you some of the products that I've used to get me through these couple of days. Okay, let me just show you some of the products that I've used. So, you know, if you know my channel, you'll be sick of me going on about this stuff. Johnson's Tea Tree Cream in a cream or in a spray. Absolutely brilliant for, you know, at the moment I'm dealing with a lot of skin, you know, itchy skin with the air conditioning. I've got gnat bites going on. Absolutely nails the lot, no problem at all. And then this is the stuff that I use if my dog's get a bad tummy. I did do a whole video about bad tummies and all of that sort of stuff. And at which stage do I step in and use this? Because 2 of my dogs have had bad tummies in the last couple of days, I know they've got some sort of bug, which although they seem fine now, and I just get this, and I always have a couple of boxes of this in stock, and it's like a probiotic, so it's sort of it's a natural product. It's a probiotic, and it's just the same as us. Like, you know, if your gut, the stuff that's in your gut, the bacteria and stuff isn't good, then your stomach's going to be off, and this just sorts that out. And so I use that anytime. Can you see what it is? Yeah. Anytime my dogs are the tummy's a bit off, I use this. And I came across this because many, many years ago, maybe 20 years ago, I took a dog to a vet that had a bad tummy. The vet put them on this, but you can just get it yourself off just online, and it works brilliantly. And so that sorted my boys out, no problem at all. And then with the shedding, I found there's 2 things that I'm using. This has been the most effective. This is actually a dog grooming comb, and there's hair on there, but you can see it's got the wide teeth there, then the narrow ones, and that has been absolutely brilliant at getting right under the undercoat, because when you brush him, it goes right down deep, and then when you lift the top coat to get to the undercoat, that has been brilliant. That really, this is when I said I spent all day yesterday brushing, this was the thing I used, and it just got all of that undercoat out. It was brilliant. And then this is my general brush that I use every day. So I brush when we get back from my walk, I brush all of the dogs. This is the brush I use all the time. But what I've been doing with the shedding is when we get back from my walk, and a couple of times a day, actually, I did it yesterday, with this brush, because it's really soft, just giving him a really good backwards brush, so brushing his fur wool backwards, and I found that really gets rid of any loose fur, but this has been the key to getting right into that undercoat and getting that sorted out. So that's it. That's my 2 days. So let's hope today's a bit better, and, you know, everybody will heal and everything will be great. But it's just so you know, owning dogs is not... You see it on TikTok and all over social media, and it looks all great. And don't get me wrong, owning dogs is great. But don't ever be fooled into thinking that's just what it's all about. It's not. There's a lot more to it, and it isn't always easy. So, as always, you know where I am on all the social medias. So thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.